You've probably been told to bury your basil seeds, but that's actually the number one reason they never sprout. If you've ever planted basil seeds, taken care of them perfectly, and then nothing, it's probably not you. There's just one key thing that people miss, and once you get it right, basil is easy. Basil seeds are what's called photoblastic, which is just a fancy way of saying they need light to germinate. So when you bury them too deeply, you're basically reducing your chances of germination. It's not impossible, it's just way less reliable. First things, timing. I start basil indoors 4 to 6 weeks before my last frost date. Here in North Idaho, zone 6B, my last frost date is about May 15th, so they're in right now. Second thing, soil. You want something really light and fluffy for those tiny seeds to break through. I use a bagged seed starting mix, plus maybe a little worm castings. Then a tip, pre-moisten that mix before you put it into your tray. Just damp enough to when you squeeze it feels like a wrung out sponge and holds its shape. That's going to give you the perfect balance of moisture and air because seeds need both in order to germinate. Now for the most important thing, just sprinkle those seeds on top. And instead of burying them, just cover lightly with a little bit of soil and then top it off with some vermiculite. In total, you're looking for maybe 1/8 of an inch of coverage. And if you don't want to mess with that, you could even just press them down into the soil lightly. Essentially, you want to make sure there's good contact with the soil so they're able to get that moisture needed to break through the seed coat, but they're still close enough to the surface to get access to that light they need. Since they are sown so close to the surface, you don't want to just dump water overhead and wash all of those seeds away. So once you have sown them and covered lightly, you can go back in with something gentle like a mist, just to help it settle. Then I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap or a humidity dome, something to seal in that moisture, but just until they germinate. As soon as they're up, take that off. Too much moisture and not enough airflow is how you get mold or fungal problems like damping off. Basil likes it warm. You're aiming for soil temps around 70 to 80 degrees. So if your house is cooler, a heat mat can make a big difference in how fast they're able to germinate. And if you don't have a heat mat, even just sticking it on a warm air vent can help. Just remember to remove that as soon as they sprout. Once they're up, light is everything. I keep my grow lights 2 to 3 inches above soil level. If that light is too far away, the seedlings are going to stretch to try to get more light, and that's how you end up with leggy seedlings. Similar to something like a snapdragon, where we want to encourage that branching, snipping off that main growing point once they have 3 to 4 sets of true leaves is a great way to encourage branching. More branching means more leaves, means more tasty caprese salads. If growing basil hasn't worked for you before, it's normally one of these 3 things. The soil was too cold, the seeds were planted too deep, or they didn't get enough light. I'm growing these right now, so follow along to learn how to transplant and care for them throughout the summer to maximize your basil harvest.